If you're a business owner or a social media manager who's been posting content and not actually seeing results, or maybe you're just not sure if the content you're creating is actually valuable, this is the video for you. Hi, I'm Maddie, the founder of Hollis Creative Media, and in this series, I'm breaking down the exact content strategy we use to help our clients develop social media strategies that actually work and generate results for their business. Now, if you haven't watched videos 1 and 2, I definitely recommend going back and watching those because we covered so much important information, the foundation of everything that you need to actually develop a social media strategy that works. And all of that foundational work that we planned and we created, we are actually going to be putting that into action and learning how to create content that works, that keeps attention, and that converts. Because here's the thing, you could have the best social media strategy in the world, the most balanced content calendar, the most beautiful plan for marketing your services. But if your content is not structured in a way that actually captures attention and actually delivers value to your audience, none of it matters. Like, you just wasted all of your time. So in this video, we are diving deep into how to actually structure valuable content, and keyword on valuable. We're talking about which formats you should be using and when, frameworks you can use to script your content, how to write hooks that actually stop people from scrolling and pay attention to your content, how to keep those same people watching, and how to deliver call to actions that don't feel too salesy and actually make the conversions that you want to make. By the end of this video, you're gonna have everything that you need to create high value, engaging content that actually performs. So let's dive in. All right, let's start with the basics of choosing your format. Before you even really start planning your content, you need to have a clear idea of how you want to deliver that content. And by deliver that content, I mean what format of content are you gonna be putting out? Because these different forms of content serve different purposes. And they create a different user experience for your audience and anyone who's perusing through the platform and stumbles upon you and decides to binge your content. Now, I wanna mention this up front. We are a video production agency first. So our primary preferred method of content is always gonna be video. We love video. You get to know a person better through video. You can really tap into the energy of that person. You can see if that's the person that you really like, you really vibe with, especially when you want to buy something from someone. You can just convey your energy and your story so much better through video. I might be a little biased, but it's true. Video is the most engaging. It builds trust faster because your audience is actually able to almost feel like they're having a conversation with you. And it's what every single social media platform is prioritizing right now. But that doesn't mean that other formats don't have their place. And that doesn't mean that other formats can't create a high valuable user experience for your audience if they're done correctly. So let's break down the main formats and how you should be using each one. First up, we're gonna talk about short form video. This is your Instagram Reels, your TikToks, and your YouTube Shorts. Now, technically, most platforms have expanded their limits to how long your short form content can be. As of right now, 2025, Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts can be up to 3 minutes long, while TikToks can be up to 10 minutes long. Not quite short form, but if you think about it in the grand scheme of things compared to Netflix or YouTube content, 10 minutes can still be pretty short form. But when I'm talking about short form, it's anywhere from 90 seconds to 3 minutes, because that's like the sweet spot of not only what the algorithms are looking for, but keeping up with the attention span of your audiences. Because if you did not know, humans are basically goldfish now, and our attention spans are getting shorter and shorter and shorter since we've been so subjected to this short form content. You know, there's a downside to everything, I guess. You can go longer than 90 seconds if your content calls for it, but the goal with short form content is that you want to be concise and you want to be punchy and you want to make sure every single second is accounted for and valuable so that you don't lose the attention of your audience. Short form video is best for getting in front of new people that might have never seen you before. It's great for breaking a complex topic down into easier bite-sized pieces that might be more digestible for your audience. And it's also great for giving them something that they could take away and implement immediately versus having to watch a whole 30-minute video to figure it out. The key with short form content is that it needs to be fast and quick and engaging. Very, very straight to the point. Short form is your top of funnel content. It's how you're gonna get discovered. Next, we have a long form video. And when I say long form video, I'm talking YouTube, like what you're watching right now. I am a natural yapper and I have a lot of information to share, so I love YouTube. YouTube is my absolute favorite platform for so many reasons. And one of those is that because with YouTube, because people are committing to sit and watch a longer video with you, they're more dedicated to actually getting to know you and actually listening to you. And you have such a chance to create such a beautiful community on a platform where you're able to share more of your story and dive deeper into certain topics. And I want to say this, YouTube is always the platform that I recommend to any client, especially clients who are wanting to monetize or build something sustainable. This platform is built for people who want to build genuine communities and possibly change the trajectory of their business. Now, I'm not saying that you can't do that with short form content. You absolutely can. But in my opinion, it just doesn't have the same impact. Think about how many times you've been scrolling on your Reels feed or on your For You page, and you might even see the same creator a couple of times. You might even follow that creator. I know on TikTok, when I follow certain creators, I literally never see them again unless I'm scrolling on my following tab, which never happens because I'm always on the For You page. And on Instagram, if I see someone and I like their content and I follow them, there is a huge chance that I don't even know that person's name. But on YouTube, you're building something stronger. You're letting people get to know you better, and you're becoming more memorable if you do it right. Okay, so now let's talk about carousels. These are gonna be the swipeable posts that you see on Instagram and TikTok and even LinkedIn. It's usually like a 5 to 10 slide post. I think on Instagram now you can go up to 20. That's a little excessive for me. Carousels are great for putting out really, really valuable information in a way that allows people to learn something and to save something or be encouraged to share that post with someone else. People are also getting really good at storytelling through carousels. The key with carousels is that each slide needs to seamlessly flow into the next one. You want people to keep swiping. And your first slide is the most important because that's what's gonna determine whether or not someone's even gonna spend the time and energy reading through the rest of your carousels. So now that you know which formats to use and when to use them, let's talk about how you should actually be structuring your content. And I wanna be extremely clear about why this matters, because this is where a lot of people go wrong. You can post consistently, you can use the right format, you can even have amazing content ideas. But if your content is not structured in a way that actually captures attention, delivers value, and guides people to actually take action, it's just not gonna perform the way that you intended it to. Structure is what separates content that gets scrolled past from content that actually gets engaged with. It's what keeps people engaged from the first second to the very last. It's what makes your content feel extremely intentional. And it's what ensures that every single piece of content that you put out is actually serving its purpose, whether that's building awareness, establishing authority, or even driving sales and generating more revenue. You need to make sure that every single piece of content is structured to have maximum impact. The longer people watch your video, the more the algorithm is going to push that content out to people. And when you add a call to action that involves some sort of engagement, that is a recipe for a successful piece of content. So when you're structuring your content, you're doing it with the goal to increase your watch time and spark engagement. We want people to be watching all the way through, or at least as close as possible. Every element of your structure is gonna be designed to keep people watching. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm gonna focus specifically on short form content because that is what I've found that most people need the most help with. But if you wanna know how to structure your carousel posts or how to structure your YouTube videos, let me know in the comments and I'll create a whole separate video about that. Okay, so let's break down the 3 key elements to a high performing video, starting with your hooks. Because I cannot stress this enough, your hook is everything. You only have 3 seconds to capture someone's attention. I told you, we're turning into goldfish. You have 3 seconds to make someone interested in what you have to say. It could have been the best content in the world, but if you can't get them through those first 3 seconds and then keep them engaged after that, they're never going to listen. So let's break down what actually makes a good hook and give some examples of what you could use. A great hook is gonna do one or more of these things. It's gonna speak to a specific pain point or a problem that your audience is experiencing. It could make a bold or intriguing statement that makes people wanna know more and hear more about what you have to say. It can promise a specific outcome or specific benefit to watching all the way through. It can challenge common beliefs or common misconceptions. The whole point of a hook is to make someone feel triggered in a way that they're like, oh, this is for me. You're speaking specifically to people, which is why getting to know your target audience, like we talked about in the first video, is so extremely important. That way, when you structure your content, you know exactly what you need to be calling out for them so that they're willing to listen. The key is specificity. Vague hooks will not work anymore. They won't. And honestly, the really boring hooks that don't trigger some type of emotion are also not really gonna work anymore. Something like, here's a social media tip. Dude, there's so many social media tips out there. Who's to say that I haven't already heard this? Swipe. But if you were to say something like, if your reels are getting views, but you're not getting followers, here's why. So I talk to exactly what that audience is concerned with and exactly what their problem is. And then I'm telling them that I'm gonna solve it for them within that video. That's specific. That's a real problem. That's gonna make someone stop and think, wait, that's me. So when you're writing your hooks, ask yourself, is this specific enough? Does this speak directly to my audience? And is this gonna make them want to keep watching? The most important takeaway is that your hook is probably the most important part of your video. So spend time on it, because if your hook does not work, nothing else matters. You've got your hook, you've got your value. You're gonna have your CTA, because we're gonna talk about that in a second. But if your editing is sloppy or your video drags on for too long, people are gonna swipe. Here are some tips that you wanna make sure that you implement so that your content is engaging and will keep people watching. First, you wanna make sure you're editing for watch time. Your goal is to keep people watching from start to finish. And the best way to do that is to cut out all the extra fluff. Cut out anything that does not need to be included in your video. Ask yourself, could I go without knowing this information? Is this something I can make a separate video about that I don't necessarily need to include in this video? Is this actually valuable? Like, if this is need to know information for my audience about this topic. That also means cut the ums, cut the long pauses, cut the moments where you're thinking or you're gathering your thoughts and you're buffering. Every single second matters. If it's not adding value or moving your content forward in some way, it needs to go. I see this all the time. People will record their video and just post it as is and not take any time to actually tweak it even just a little bit to make it a little more valuable and to make it flow a little bit better. And I get it. That takes time, and not all of us have time all of the time. But those long pauses and those ums and those moments that don't matter decrease your watch time and decrease the interest that your audience might have in continuing to learn from you. So when you're editing, be ruthless. Tighten it up and make every single second count. You do not have to be perfect on camera. You just need to be intentional with what you're saying and what you leave in your videos. Next up is pacing. And oh my gosh, if this is not one of the most important things in your video, your content needs to keep moving. If the energy drops throughout your video, your watch time is gonna do the exact same thing. This doesn't mean that you have to talk super fast or be over the top in your content, but you do need to be able to maintain the momentum. Use your cuts to keep things moving. And I'm gonna be completely transparent with you. I have my script here. I'm reading from my script and I'm taking little pauses in between each line so I can make sure that I deliver that message in the right way. But in editing, we're gonna cut all of those little pauses out and we're gonna make sure that the momentum keeps going. You can even use B-roll or on-screen visuals to kind of break things up. You don't have to just be sitting and talking to the camera and that's all we get. Add some music, add some sound effects. Take time to really make your video more captivating. The point is, you don't want your content to feel stagnant. You don't want it to feel monotone. You don't want it to feel boring. You want to keep it dynamic and you want to keep it engaging, because the second that someone gets bored, they're gone. Next, you want to make sure that you're including some sort of on-screen text and text overlays to really emphasize what the video is going to be about. This is what I like to call a text hook. This is very different from captions. Captions are transcribing what it is that you're saying, and on-screen text is going to highlight the most important part. For example, if your video is aligned with "this is the #1 mistake I see people make," you might put that as your text above your head, especially if you're doing short form talking to camera content. So one, you want to make sure you leave space for that. But what that's going to do is it's actually going to draw attention to that text, and it's going to reinforce that point, and it's going to make people stop and pay attention to what you're saying, because now you've hooked them with your text hook and you've hooked them with what you're actually saying. You can also use on-screen text to add additional context or break down any steps you might be saying in the video. But the key to that is you want to make sure that you're not overdoing it, because you can very much easily overstimulate someone if you have too much going on in your video. So you want to try to have a very nice balance of text on the screen, text in your captions, and then also just value with what you have to say. Your on-screen text and your visuals should be enhancing your content, not competing with it. It should make it better. So if you do everything that we've talked about in this section, I can guarantee you your content is going to perform so much better than it has been already. Every single piece of content that you create should have some sort of call to action. And here's why. People need to be told what to do. Everyone is so programmed these days to just scroll through content mindlessly. So if you don't tell them what they should be doing next, they're just gonna keep scrolling. So you really need to make sure that you're intentional about your CTAs. You need to make them extremely clear, extremely specific, and make sure that they align with the goals that you actually have for that video and your content. You can ask people to follow you, so that's saying something like, follow for more social media marketing tips. This is really great for growing your audience, especially if that is one of your goals. You can ask people to save that piece of content or share that content with a friend. This is going to be really good for boosting engagement and signaling to the algorithm that this piece of content is very valuable. Let's put it out to more people. If you want to work on getting more comments and engagement in your comment section, which is really great because a lot of conversations can happen in the comment section. You can learn about your audience more in the comment section. You should request that people comment specific things in the comment. Don't just throw random call to actions into your content just because you think you should. You need to be very, very strategic about it. I would make a recommendation that if you are going to put a call to action at the end of the video, try to keep it as concise and short as possible. Going back to that example, follow for more social media marketing tips. Boom, super simple, super to the point. Call to actions might seem very, very small, but they make a huge difference in how your content will perform and how your audience is actually going to engage with you. So don't skip them and make sure you use them intentionally. And speaking of call to actions, go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel because I've got so much more planned to help you master social media marketing and grow your business to every single thing that you know that it can be. I want to know what you want to see. What questions do you have for me? Let me know in the comments, and thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.